Thank you very much. Good morning. It is my honor really to be joined at this podium and in this event and in this coalition with a large group of advocates who have dedicated their lives to justice and the protection of civil rights. Before I begin my arguments against holding a constitutional convention, I want to recognize and acknowledge that we have a difference of opinion with other groups of individuals and organizations that also want the best for our state. In no way should our opposition to the convention be interpreted as opposition to many of the issues we share, such as promotion of good government and ethics. We just believe that the remedy they propose could have serious unintended consequences for future generations. The road to hell is paved by good intentions. Every 10 years we have the ability to call for the opening of the rule book we call our Constitution in order to improve on such document and make any course corrections that we as states see fit. In a perfect world where the rights of racial, ethnic, sexual, immigrants, and other minorities wouldn't be at stake, such course correction may be in order. But we are far from living in such perfect world, and previous experience here and in other states have demonstrated that such a process opens the door to well-funded special interests whose purposes are less altruistic than what the framers originally envisioned. Opening of this rule book can make many of the gains we have obtained through the legislative process disappear and set the stage for further restrictions in the future. For the last 30 years, I have seen efforts to restrict sexual and reproductive rights, immigrant rights, and the rights of racial, language, and ethnic minorities. And the thought of opening the rule book to a small group of individuals elected by a small minority of the state with no accountability for their actions once they are finished, it is just unthinkable. We are inarguably living in one of the most polarizing moments in these 30 years I've been here, and the risks of this constitutional exercise are just too high. The convention is not going to be limited to the issues they could address, and while important issues such as good government efforts will certainly be covered, issues such as English-only laws and reversing the gains of immigrant students and families will most likely be dealt with, and most likely not in a positive way. Sexual and reproductive rights, which are constantly being fought over in the legislature, could be seriously curtailed, as it wasn't the case in the last constitutional convention. And as someone who was part of that battle, I can tell you it was a costly and dangerous exercise then. It is scarier today. We can't afford to lose the gains we have made. As I said in my opening remarks, everyone in this coalition and all the groups they represent are for good government reform. Unfortunately, in 1986, the last time we held the convention, we had a number of these reforms come out to the voters, such as term limits for state officers, increasing legislative pay, and reforming the judicial process, but many were rejected because they were watered down. In subsequent years, we've seen the state legislature address these issues and have them approved by the voters through the regular amendment process. Finally, it is important to recognize the increasing role of money in all political campaigns. And this, in essence, is the most important political campaign we run every 10 years. The powerful, those who are connected and who stand to gain the process by funding delegates and initiatives that run counter to this lively experiment we call Rhode Island, are chomping at the bit to have their views permanently enshrined in a document that will rule our life and the lives of our children and their children's children for years to come. The real remedy against bad government is to elect good people to government and to throw them out if they do not follow the will of the people. Changing the rule book without changing the people is a risk we as a coalition of advocates for justice are unwilling to take, and we hope you join us in this effort. Thank you.